Okay, today we are going to be talking about graphs. Alright? Graphs are important. You will be seeing graphs all throughout life. There are a lot of people that find graphs very, very helpful. Okay? Some of those people would be people that work in sales. Okay? They might be looking at numbers such as how much of a certain product they're selling. How does it sell compared to other products? How are our sales reps doing? How many products do they sell on any given day? If they're working as a cashier, they might be looking at how many items they run in a day, how much was their drawer short, or how much was it over at the end of the day. If you were looking at a school, schools might be running charts to determine how many students they have on any given day, maybe to see how well their students are doing on their MAP scores, or maybe what kind of numbers they're running in terms of athletes or people that are involved in different activities. Okay, so there are a lot of different people that use graphs. Scientists, they're going to be looking at all kinds of charts when they're doing their research. Okay, so the first type of graph we have is a bar graph. A type of graph in which the lengths of bars are used to represent and compare data in categories. Okay, so the bar graph that I have there is just an example. It's showing the amount of historically active volcanoes in those 4 countries. Data. Data consists of facts, numbers, or numerical information. Okay, if you're in a reading class and you're doing research for a project, you're going to be dealing with facts. If you're a scientist, sometimes it'll be numbers, sometimes it'll be facts. In math class, most of the time it'll probably be numbers. Alright, example number 1. Which country has the most historically active volcanoes? That would be the U.S. with approximately 170 approximately 170 historically active volcanoes. Okay, Canada is looking like it's somewhere around 20. Chile's looking like it's somewhere around 125. And Mexico's looking right now like it's somewhere around 40. Okay? Now, which country has the least amount of historically active volcanoes? Well, that's going to be Canada. Okay? Alright, the smart board's kind of acting up a little bit. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Alright, we got the screen fixed. Okay, so example number 1 continued. About how many more historically active volcanoes does Chile have than Mexico? Alright, well, let's look at these numbers. Mexico is looking, based upon this chart, now the last chart we didn't have as many numbers to go off of, so the results might look a little different. Right now, Mexico is looking like it is about 35. Alright, and Chile is looking like it is just short of 120. So I'm going to put 120 and just say we round it up a little bit. Okay, so approximately Chile is looking like it has 120 minus 35. That's going to give us 85 more active volcanoes than Mexico. Alright. Let's see if we can clear this. And our next slide. Alright. Which country has the most volcanic eruptions in a given year? Okay, that's kind of a tricky question. We can't really deduce that information based upon what is on this chart. Okay, this chart just tells us how many historically active volcanoes. So how many volcanoes have been active in these countries at some point in time. Not necessarily how many are erupting in any specific given year. So that's a question that we can't answer based upon this information. Sometimes when you get bar graphs, you will have to be careful to make sure that it will answer the questions that you want to answer. Okay, about how many historically active volcanoes do Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. have altogether? Okay, let's see. Canada is looking like it's somewhere around, we'll say 15, just to make life easy. Okay, and Mexico, we said, was around 35. And the U.S. is looking like it's at about 170. Okay, so we will add those together. 170 plus that is going to give us 205. And if we add that to our 15, we're looking at a total of 220. And that's the total between those three countries. Okay. Now, let's go ahead. We'll erase that. And as you can see, this doesn't like me, just like in class. Okay. Now, sometimes we will be showing data through a frequency table. Okay, a frequency table is a large set of data values that are grouped into intervals based upon how frequently they appear. Alright, now, the information that you are seeing right here, that is an interval. Okay? That's an interval. An interval, you can think of it as a specific range. Okay? Sometimes we have so much data that we don't want to put it all on the table. So we need to be a little more vague. So what we did here was we now have a range of anything that fits in between 60 and 69.9. And then what we'll do is we'll put tallies whenever we come across one. So if you see we had 66.5, so they put a tally. Then we had 61.5, so they put another tally. And then the frequency would be how many tallies we accumulated, which was 2. Okay? And the same goes on for the other intervals as well. Okay, so that's our example. We'll go over to the next page and we will work a specific problem real quick. Okay, the following data shows the heights of some of the tallest roller coasters in the world. Make a frequency table. Okay, so our frequency table, between 60 and 69.9, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now normally you would be tallying as you go. Okay, I'm just kind of in a hurry. Let's go ahead and do that the other way. So our next one, 70 to 79.9, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, so there's 4 total there. Now, in our 80 to 89.9, we have 0. So, put a 0 there. In our 90 to 99.9, I believe we've got 1, 2, and that's it. Okay? So in that one, we'll get 1, 2. Then in our 100 to 109, there was, let's see, 100 to 109. I don't see any for that one. So we've got another 0. And then in our next column, we've got 1 right there. And then you actually won't be able to see it because the screen isn't big enough. But there's 1 that'll go in the one below it as well. Okay? So let's go ahead, see if it'll let us, let's clear that. Closing glare. That's one we just did. Okay, so now, a graph in which a bar represents the frequency of data in any given interval is known as a histogram. Okay? A histogram is what you'll see on the right. It's essentially all the data that we had in our frequency table. Okay? It's essentially just another way of representing it. Some people like visuals. I prefer the histogram myself. Just because it's a little bit easier sometimes to see that relationship. Sometimes you look at these numbers over here and you have to do the math in your head, which isn't a bad thing, but it just kind of takes a little bit more time. Sometimes it's easier to look at the histogram and be able to see what's going on. So let's go ahead and fill out that histogram. I know you can't see the bottom numbers. I apologize about that. I don't think I can adjust it while it's recording. But in our 70 to 79.9 range, we had 4. Okay? So this one would come up to here. The next one we had 0, so we would skip 1. The next one had 2. Okay? The next one had 0, so we skip again. And the one after that had 1. And you guys couldn't see it, but the one after that had 1 as well. Okay? So I like the histogram because I can see this, and it's a lot easier to see how much bigger the 60 to 69 interval was compared to the others. Okay? So, we'll go ahead and clear, and we'll close. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed and hope it helped.